Evidence. Tonight, see what truly exists inside the world of the paranormal. Inside. Join the discussion and review some of the best paranormal evidence captures from a wide variety of experienced and up-and-coming investigators. See and hear what they capture, where they captured it, and how they captured it. Right now on Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Entity Voices Paranormal Evidence. I'm Chris.
I'm Audra.
I am Tony.
I am Sherry.
And I'm Lourdes. And
I am astounded how we continue to make the introduction awkward every single week with our own names. We've had them for years.
Purpose.
That's true. I'm Ron, and I'm happy to be here once again with my para family.
Para family.
Para fan.
Para peeps.
Yeah, you have a para for anything. It's
we all had a great weekend, I think, right? We all had a
yes.
great weekend.
Thank you for asking, Karen. We did. This was our only non-paranormal weekend in quite a few, and we're back off of the non-paranormal starting next week, this coming weekend.
Wow.
We went to a block party and karaoke event at my son's mom's house, and then we went and see my dad play. So it was a music weekend. The only paranormal stuff we did was we interacted a little bit with Tony, because I know Tony had a fantastic event I saw some evidence of. And so I was just kind of going back and forth with him because he makes progress.
Yeah, we got to investigate for the 53rd time the Hotel San Carlos. And we had never had Staticom there before, and it performed. It worked well. Yeah. So we were
nice.
very happy.
That's awesome.
Yep. From what I saw, quite well.
That's
awesome. I was not disappointed. It spit out some great information.
Hey, Todd and
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
That was just, I'm sure what I saw was a fraction of what took place, but it was, I was watching it going, you go, Rathman, you go. Coach Rathman's killing it.
Well, it looks like Rathmans were the only ones that did anything paranormal because we ended up staying home. We were going to do, Audra and I were going to go to the Montgomery house, and I ended up not feeling very well, so we stayed home. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sorry to hear that.
That's what happens when you get old.
We're there.
Fast.
What?
Oh. You're younger than the four of us.
Yeah, but my body's 85. So I recently was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, severe, and it tends to hit me a little hard some days. And on Saturday, it hit me really hard, and I could barely move off the couch. So,
I'm so sorry.
But you're feeling better now. You're feeling better. Good.
It's gonna take a tank to put all good down. So.
That's what I was just gonna say. You can't stop Christoph Allgod.
No, you cannot.
Nope.
They've been telling me since I was 18 when I got injured in the military that I would walk with a cane within 5 years, and I keep telling them.
Oh.
So,
wow.
Yep. Ooh, you see this?
Cool, Karen.
That's cool.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wrathman is everywhere.
Yeah. That is the one most spoken word from the other side of the veil. There's probably spirits over there going, who's this Wrathman guy? And why is everybody talking about him? He's wearing salmon. That's all we know.
He's wearing salmon.
I like the shirt.
It's a nice shirt.
I like it too.
But I don't wear many colored anythings. All my clothes are earth tone. All of them. But except this one.
Well, looks nice.
It's earthy.
It is.
Yeah.
It's earthy.
It's funny when we do sessions or even test out stuff with Staticom, I find myself, don't I do it now? I go, can you say Anthony Rathman?
Yeah.
Clearly this method is not working if I don't hear the name, Anthony. It has to come out.
I got our dog to say it the other night. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
All right, guys. Now that we've made fools of ourselves,
Yeah, it didn't take long. We're right.
for those of you waiting, if you have not heard of him, you have not been paying attention. Tonight we've got Rick McCallum of Hollywood Ghost Hunters. Rick began his stunt career. Yes, he is a stunt man. You've seen his face in many movies. You might not have known it, but you have. Rick is a fantastic person, a great investigator. He's known well in Scotland for some of the stuff that he's done over there. And he's also known very well here in the United States. He's been in Naked Gun 33 and a half, Hatchet 2, where he played the silent hunter John, and recently in Clint Eastwood's J. Edgar. Everybody welcome Rick McCallum.
Hello.
Hey, Rick.
Oh, wait a minute. I shouldn't be clapping for me. What's going on here?
You're just excited.
Why not? You've heard of you. Why not?
Well, I'm not even a household name in my own household. You know? I live alone. You think I'd get top billing for goodness sake? All I ever hear on my stuff is Tony Rathman. I don't know what's going on here.
I communicate with them a lot, so they, it's just by constant contact that the name comes up.
Well, Tony will tell you how often my name comes up. It's I get it stupid everywhere we go. Something hollers my name.
Yeah, he does.
Especially the ladies.
No, that doesn't never work for me. They see what I got to offer. They're out. Tapping out on this one.
All right, Rick, the six of us know you pretty well. Why don't you tell the audience who you are?
Well, I think you pretty much said it. I started doing stunts in 1982, and I met a guy there by the name of Kane Hodder, who's now more famous as Jason Voorhees. And we've been best friends for the last 40 years. And we've done roughly 30 movies together.
Wow.
And we also, just because of something happened at Mansfield Prison, we started the Hollywood Ghost Hunters. We saw Dark Shadow, and he went running after it, and I went, that's going to be my new partner right there. Anybody that chases after him, that's what I want, right? So that's where we got started. But in the meantime, I've been ghost hunting. I've ghost hunted Australia, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, Ireland, England, Scotland, Switzerland, most of the United States. Oh my God, look at all that group right there. People ask me about how often we ghost hunt together, and I said, well, it's really hard for us to ghost hunt together. I said, because we're all pretty good sized guys, and like RA, the one on the right, is 340 pounds. So anytime we go into a building, we have to split up so it doesn't tilt over. So we don't really get to see each other. We show up, and that's that.
Wow. I wish I had known you, because I started out doing paranormal investigating when I lived in Los Angeles over 10 years ago, but then I moved back in 2014. I wish I had known you back then. That would have been an awesome experience. I haven't had the chance to investigate with you. I think Tony has. But for people watching, we have had the chance to meet you. We met you at the Paracon in Las Vegas in December of 2021. And for people who have never seen or wonder if they become famous because everybody wants their 15 minutes, how to interact and how to treat your fans and the people who are excited to meet you, watch Rick McCallum, because that's how you do it. The people come over to meet him. They love the experience. He's kind to everybody, pictures and hugs and everything. And so, I mean, it was, to me, to see that interaction was very impressive. And we had fun. We actually called David Oman on the phone. Remember you were messing with David Oman on the phone.
Yeah, he said, he goes, do you know David Oman? I dialed him up. I said, David, I'm here with Ron Yacovetti. And he goes, hey, Ron. But yes, I know. I've been to David's house many, many times.
Yeah. Me as well. Great location. That place is nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, some days it really blows up, I'll tell you. You know, if anybody gets to go out there, the place that's really the most haunted part of that building is the second floor hallway where he's got his office. That is, I've gotten some pretty interesting video. Matter of fact, I sent you one that came from that way. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. The most haunted thing there is obviously David.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, he's a conduit for sure. But I remember when I was starting out, I was with one other person, and we did an EVP in the Jack Johnson memorabilia room. And he was the first black heavyweight champion. an incredibly talented fighter. And he's got this massive collection of his top hats and menus from the restaurant he owned. And I remember doing EVP and stuff and hearing for the first time like a voice without the recording, like answer something. And I was like, what? that place was really, really, and that's the second floor.
Well, you guys do know, and you guys absolutely know that Staticom is going to change a whole lot of that.
Hmm.
Oh, well,
I mean, once that gets out amongst the bums like me, it's going to be people are going to start throwing away some of their equipment.
well, that's huge. I'll let Tony speak to this if he wants to also, but from someone who's a pioneer part of it, as are the Rathmans. Huge coming from you, because we did it for the research. We did it just for, to develop direct radio voice, which we felt was a lost art. So thank you for saying that. That sure does mean a lot.
Well, it slobber knocked me, which is actually that is a stunt term. It means you got the slobber knocked out of you, right? It was so cool. And so it was a slobber knocker listening to that. I was like, holy cow. And then I was like trying to figure out if I could sneak up behind him and take it when he wasn't looking, but Cherie caught me.
And she slobber knocked you?
Yeah.
I've never met a girl I could beat up in a fair fight yet. So girls don't fight fair. They poke you in the eye and they grab you by the jowls and they swing back and forth. All kinds of stuff.
Kick you in places that don't really feel that great.
Especially when they're tiny like her.
Oh.
I had a girlfriend who was 5'2" and I'm 6'4", and we're walking down the street when I first met her, and I was going to be all kinds of romantic, and I went to go for a hug, and I whiffed. I got no girl at all. I was like, whoa.
That's why I can't take a picture of the three of us, because you guys won't see me. It's gonna be like this.
We have one like that from Joshua Tree National.
Yeah.
And Rick and I are up here, and you're like, your forehead's like at the bottom of the.
All you see is from here up on Cherie.
Right.
Yeah. I've got a similar type of picture with our friend Patrick and Gary. They're both like 6'6" or something like that, almost 300 pounds. They're massive, and I look like the Big Brother project. I can in between.
Wait, you guys know R.A., the guy who played Leatherface?
Yeah.
He's one of the guys in my group, and he's very proud. He's 6'5" and 340 pounds, and he's very, very proud of his size. And I'll wait until he's got a bunch of people in his line at a Paracon, and Kane and I will sneak up on him. I'll get in the line. I come up to him and I go, "Hey, R.A." I said, "You look pretty big. What are you, like, about 6'2" and about 265 pounds?" And he turns into Hulk Hogan. He goes, "Let me tell you something right now, brother. I'm 6'5" and 340 pounds." And then Kane looks at it. He goes, "You had sex with a banana peel?" And he goes, "No, that's not what I said." Kane and I tortured that poor guy.
That's awesome.
That's only because we know we can outrun him.
Rick, what was it you said to us in the past? I love the line, when you guys go ghost hunting, because of the three of you are clearly not lacking in the physical intimidation category.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of. It used to be our tagline. It was the dark is afraid of us.
There it is. As it should be.
Good one.
As it should be, yes.
Well, you know what happens to me? I'll be walking down a long, long, dark corridor, like at Aho, and Kane will be behind me, and R.A. will be behind me, and I'll think, oh, yeah, I'm pretty safe. And then I'll go, wait a minute. I've got Jason Voorhees and Leatherface behind me. This is not going to end well for me.
It doesn't matter how fast you run, they always seem to catch it.
Yeah. If you run, they just walk and they catch up to you.
All right, Rick, so you sent in a promo for No Earth. Let's go ahead and start with that one. You want to tell us a little bit about the promo?
Well, the promo was made by, I'm sure all of you know her, Kat Hobson, who's a very, very good friend of mine. And people were always asking me, just, where have you been? What have you done? Some of the stuff I said, Kat, here's some stuff. Do something. So here's 2 minutes that kind of explains what I do a little bit. It's pretty good too.
Oh, nice.
And actually, the thing where it says no Earth, that is because it used to have the fade in from the Earth, from Google. I had to take that off because we've all seen that.
Okay. So let's take a look.
The very last thing is very interesting too.
It's also one of your clips tonight. So don't watch the end too quickly because then you'll ruin the later clip. Just kidding. Here we go.
Is there anything in the castle that we should be afraid of?
And that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Really nicely done. Really nicely done.
I knew who to go to.
Yeah, that was great. She did a fantastic job on that. And the ending was pretty damn cool too.
Yeah, that one come right out of nowhere. We were at Balgony Castle, and I just asked that. I says, anything in the castle we should be afraid of? And then it actually says it with a Scottish accent, the energy.
Yeah.
So,
and that was clear too.
Yeah, that was very
clear.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Why don't we start with that clip so everybody can actually see the actual clip that you sent in on it?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Is there anything in the castle that we should be afraid of?
And
yeah,
that does have the accent. You can hear it. Totally.
That one was hard to miss.
Yeah, that was loud and clear.
And where was that again?
That was in Balgony Castle in Scotland.
Oh, nice.
That is amazing.
Which is an amazingly haunted place. I had been there before, where we actually had a girl named Cheryl Plum, who was with us, and Jay Bloomkey. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's very great reputation in ghost hunting. He and Kathleen Burns were filming us for a thing for Dark Zone, and there was a spirit that did not like women, and he would throw them out. He would yell at them, and the girls would leave. So we sent Cheryl in there by herself, with the exception of Kathleen and Jay were in there filming. And she did something very smart. She sat on the floor, which made her seem more vulnerable, right? So she's sitting in the chapel. And I came in about 10 minutes later with my thermal. I didn't see anything. So I went over and I sat down. And then Mikey Thompson and Gregor, who is one of the Scottish paranormal guys, came in and sat down. And we started asking questions. And it started answering like you couldn't believe. I said, if you got a chance to be with Cheryl, what would you do? Right. And it said a 2-word answer. And there was a little concern of what the first word was, because the second word was her. Right. And the the other guys are going, "Oh, did he really say that?" I said, "No, he didn't. Listen again." Right. And they said, "What does it say?" I said, "He said it's saying love her." Right. So I say, "Listen again." They said, "You're right. That is what it says." Right. So now I can't hear anything if you're standing next to me, but I can hear whispers. Right. But we talked like 3 or 4 minutes, and every one of them was a response. We got all of it on tape. It was amazing. So that's one of my favorite places. Matter of fact, I go there all the time when I go to Scotland.
Wow.
You'll get a kick out of this, Rick. So the company that I work for, where I actually make my money to pay my bills, not the paranormal stuff. Every year when within the company, it's a big corporation on the East Coast. Every year, anybody that gets awards for the year, which is hard to do, I actually got, through my company, I got Employee of the Year last year for my region. And you get your name put into a drawing, and if your name gets drawn, they pay your request. The request that I put in was Paranormally Investigate Scotland with Rick McCallum.
Oh, God, I wish you would have won.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my name didn't get drawn. So,
by the way, if any of you guys get to Scotland, let me know and I'll hook you up.
Awesome. That's
That'd be
awesome.
cool.
If you've never investigated with Rick before, though, he has an uncanny ability to get spirits to interact. And I don't care if it's through a communication device. I don't care if it's through a K2. I have seen, and the fact about him hearing whispers and stuff, he heard his name being called in the Phelps that I didn't hear. Luckily, we had a recorder that was running and caught it, but he was absolutely right. But his ability to get them to interact and communicate is amazing.
that is cool.
Well, it is cool, and it's because it's the only thing that's only dead people seem to want to communicate with me. I go outside, everybody's saying, no, stay away. The dead people seem to get along good with me.
Well, we believe for a long time with what we do that intent and the nature of what you do and the reason you do it is transferable as an energy, as a something that can be detected. You can sense if you're in a room and someone's terrified, you can feel it. If you see an emotion, you can also feel it. And I think that the fact that you're a genuinely good soul of a person, I think that translates. And the fact that you're doing this for the right reasons, and it's not a grandstanding thing for you, it's a passion. Clearly, because nobody does as much as you've done in the many places as you've done it if they're not passionate about it. The energy and the enthusiasm would have run out long ago. So I think that translates, and I think that's why somebody like you is important to the field with aggregating data, because you have a wide geographical range you've covered, and you've gotten quality evidence in that same range for those reasons. So I think that's a lot to do with it. That's my 2 cents. And Mary Beth Reimer agrees with me. That's 2 of us so far.
It's growing exponentially. I love it. No, it's funny. I personally feel that spirits will relate to you the way you relate to them.
Right.
You know, I've always told people when they say, well, how do I get a spirit to interact with me? I said, well, if you went out in your backyard and you saw a lost puppy in your backyard, what would you do? I said, you wouldn't chase him. You wouldn't yell at him. You'd talk softly, stick your hand out and let him come to you. And it's the same thing with spirits. I mean, you'll never hear me yelling at a spirit or anything else. I just talk nice and quietly and politely, and hopefully they pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
They usually do.
Yep.
They usually do.
Yeah,
Well,
we and Tony and Marie have had a lot of stuff happen when we've been around.
Yes, we have. Yes,
we had stuff on the Queen Mary happen. We had stuff at Aho happen.
Yeah.
Aho was interesting.
Speaking of Aho, we have a clip.
Ooh.
One of my favorite locations.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and take a look at this one.
Like that. Please feel free, and thank you for still connecting with me on this. A little while ago, we had something go right past us and into the REM pod area. This one, all 5 lights. That one, all cattywampus. So, was that you, or was that you? Okay, so that wasn't you. Is the person that did do that still in the room?
Oh, nice. Do we have it?
Well, I think that's a pretty positive answer right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That's
awesome.
fascinating.
That was very awesome.
That's fascinating. I love when you see stuff like that. That's really cool.
That was in the basement, correct?
It was.
Yeah, that was in the basement. Yeah.
I got to see it firsthand, and that went on for about 10 minutes. I mean, that was just one little clip, but he literally had a conversation that was going back and forth for quite a while, a couple of minutes before it got interrupted and sort of shut it down. But it was impressive, very impressive.
Well, you know what's strange about that whole thing? If you notice, there were two K2 meters and another REM pod on a tripod on a T thing right next to it, and those never went off. And I was not that far away, but
Right.
Jim, the guy who was filming, he goes, "Well, why is yours going off and mine isn't?" I said, "Do you remember the first thing that I said when I came in here? Hi, my name is Rick. If you could come to me and we can," I said, I invited them, right? So, I mean, it was pretty much evidence that works when you invite them nicely, because the ones that he had, the other ones never went off. No matter where we went, they never went off.
Not at all. And they weren't more than maybe 6, 7, 8 feet away from the ones you can see Rick holding and the one right next to him. The other ones were just across the other way, and they never went off.
Wow.
That's
Yeah, that did kind of shock me when both of them went off at the same time.
Yeah, that was cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the longer that kind of an exchange goes on, the more compelling, to me at least, it becomes, because in scientific methodology, there's a level of perceived chance, like that something could just coincidentally happen. But the longer that goes on, chance odds just get blown out of the water. And then the fact that there were other meters that were nearby that detect the same energy and they did not respond, it was very central to where he was, also makes it really, really compelling.
Yeah, it actually did the same thing several other times. When I would ask it, can you come close, and bam, and then this one would go off. So it was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I'll go with that.
Well, having the other equipment sitting around your REM pod also shows intention, because you invited it in, you wanted it to communicate with you, and anybody that's ever used a REM pod, you have to get about 6 to 8 inches from that antenna to make it work, right? To get a response. So the intention was there that it wanted to make sure it communicated with you, because it directionally set itself towards your REM pod. It didn't touch the other devices; it went directly towards yours. So you knew that it was responding to you.
Well, and besides that, I actually asked it to go to that REM pod. I said, and can you light this up next? I mean, I don't know if it was in that clip or the other clip, but that was Aho was very interesting. By the way, Tony, I do have the tape that you had sent me of the 3rd floor of Aho.
Oh, the shadows?
No, the voice.
The voice, the one I was explaining. Very cool. Very cool.
Well, that saved me from thinking I was crazy, because nobody else heard it. And I said, I heard it clear as a bell.
I didn't hear it until I realized that we had a recorder running. And when I played it back, I'm like, oh my God, you can hear it.
Well, you know what's really strange about it? When you watch it on the video, you see me lean against the wall and you'll see my head come up. I'll go, and then you'll hear the voice.
Oh,
I think I remember us talking about that, and I'm like, I have no idea, can't explain that.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and play that clip, but I love this clip. You're on the 2nd floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And what you hear, we've heard before on that 2nd floor at the Phelps Dodge Hospital. This is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and play that.
It's talking. What was that? None of you guys heard that?
No, here it is talking.
No. There was somebody that just screamed down the hallway. Screamed. Down that way.
What do you want to tell Rick? Who screamed?
Sound like a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You heard it.
You know what it says?
What's
It
that?
says Rick.
It actually says my name if you really listen close to it.
Sound like a
Oh,
kid
really?
now.
Yeah,
It
play it
says
again.
Rick.
Yeah, let's play it again. Here we go.
Yeah, I was going to ask for that.
It's talking.
What was that? None of you guys heard that.
No, here it's talking.
No. There was somebody that just screamed down the hallway. Screamed. Down that way.
What do you want to tell Rick? Who screamed?
Sound like a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's exactly how it sounds like.
That's a trip.
That's awesome.
It's strange. I react before the scream comes.
Yeah.
So you heard
That's
it with
pretty
your
impressive.
own ears, right?
Well, that could very well be the explanation to what he's saying, that the video and the audio of it on the machine are off place to his reaction to it. They could have easily sent that message both audibly into the environment, but it hit his mind, his consciousness first. So he heard it up here first, and it showed on the recorder after his reaction. That could be a very...
Even Jim didn't hear anybody in there. Never heard it except for Rick. 'cause
Rick's
he
the only one who heard it
reacted.
at the time. Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That happens a lot. That happens
Well,
a lot.
add to the audible obstacle course that you're dealing with. There was a spirit box as an SB7 that was the whole time, and you still heard.
Don't get me started on that.
Still heard that.
Tony will tell you that I said, in no uncertain terms, turn that son of a bitch off. Right? But because every time you're trying to hear something, it's like... And we're in a hospital with 3-foot cement walls next to Mexico, so if we're going to get anything at all, it's going to be in Spanish. I don't understand Spanish. Right? What are we going to do? But yeah, that ruined it a lot of times with that stupid SB7, which I like. I just didn't like it in that.
Right. Well, it's so loud and it's so obtrusive.
Well, besides that, Tony has really good stuff over there to listen to and play with, and turn that thing off. Take us out of remedial and put us into university over here. Okay, that's the difference between the two.
Well, I was just going to say, the Phelps Lodge Hospital was so active, you didn't need an SB7. There was stuff, you just stood there and there was activity around you. There was voices around you. You could hear stuff. You don't need an SB7 in that location.
No.
Well, we had other stuff that happened with Dylan, which I'm sure you guys all know Dylan. It's Tony's son.
Yeah.
We were on, I believe it was on the second floor by the, the baby area.
Yeah, the nursery.
And I was looking through my thermal, and I looked down, and there was something crawling on the floor shaped like a baby.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, and
I remember that.
I called Dylan over because he was standing near me. And the other thing that happened is we went into the baby area, and I took Dylan in with me because Dylan's got a good feel for ghost hunting, and Tony was doing all the equipment. So I had him sit down, and he started talking, and he had the K2 on his lap. And finally, he was getting some answers. And finally I said, do you want us to stay? Flatline. So I said, do you want us to leave? Boom, all 5 lights. So I go, okay, if you turn all 5 lights on again, we'll leave. Bam, all 5 lights, right? And Dylan looks at me and he goes, what are you going to do? I said, we're going to leave.
Yeah.
we promised, out we went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that place was very, very funny because, that second floor when I heard the noise, I don't know if Tony remembers this, but when I walked down there, I turned around, I said, dude, there's something evil in this room because it just walked right through me. And I go back down.
That.
Yeah, and they're all going. That's why I just leaned up against the wall. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Nobody does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can see I'm not very happy leaning up against the wall. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I drove all over to California to listen to the.
Well, Well, that's been most amusing. I've never heard anybody do a spirit box that well.
Yeah. And then he speeded it up.
He did.
He turned to sweet.
He is very sweet. Yeah. But I didn't bring it up to speak to the efficacy or the difficulties of the box. To me, what was impressive was that you heard that in spite of that extra noise.
Yeah.
We were talking about your hearing.
Tony saved me. He really did, because Jim, the guy that was there, filming and everything else, he went through all his stuff. He didn't get anything, right? And I said, I heard it. I know I heard it. I reacted to it. And I was on Tony's show. And Tony goes, oh, by the way, I have something for you. And he played that clip.
But that's not the first time you've done that. I remember on the Queen Mary, you going, did you hear that? And I was like, no. I mean, there were people talking and dancing, and they were playing music, and so I didn't hear a thing. And it's like, you didn't just hear that. You have a definite ability to pick voices and sounds out from background noise. Because
I really think that is because I'm a little bit hard of hearing. Normal, just a little bit, but a little bit hard. So I think I kind of make up for it on the other ones.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Very possible.
Like they say, people who are blind get great hearing, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, that's possible.
So that could be it. But yeah, there was we had Tony's great stuff, all this good audio stuff over there. We're playing with the SB7. I was getting so pissed off. We have a Ferrari that you can borrow, or the Volkswagen for today.
Yeah, Tony made some exceptionally good boxes. That's for sure. We got to see them when he brought them out here too.
Well, I've already ordered a Staticom, but I don't know if he knows that. I've been going to the 7-Elevens because everybody wears masks now, so it's really easy to make money. So I'm just waiting till the Staticom comes out.
That's hilarious.
What's funny is, I'm between 6'1" and 6'6", depending on which 7-Eleven I go into, and that little thing on the door. I wonder which drunk guy they get to put that up there.
That's funny.
That is
Scott commented on. We actually did an Estes method experiment at the Hinsdale house. It was us, Anthony Simonelli, and Giuseppe from Seekers Club with Anthony, and we did Staticom for Estes instead of a ghost box, and it got a little intense when she was under.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
I will tell you kind of a cool story about the Estes method. We were doing the LAPD museum, and there was a young girl, maybe 14, with her dad. And they weren't really meshing. They were standing a little bit apart, and they were very quiet. And, I just felt like something was off, right? So later on that night, I went up to the young girl. I said, would you like to try the Estes method? And she goes, yes, but could you make sure my dad watches? I said, sure, I'll get him, because he was in the next room with his stuff. So I got him, and he came over and watched it. She had one of the most phenomenal Estes things I've ever seen, and it started getting a little too strong. So I wanted to know, and I pulled her out of it. And she walks over, and her dad just grabs her and hugs her, and they're like embracing really strong. And he goes, "I'm so proud of you." And I was like, "Yes,
that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yep,
that's very cool.
Ghost hunting than finding ghosts.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
Yep.
That is true.
Absolutely.
Understated point.
Very much so. All right, the next clip we got for you, Rick. This is one of our favorite places on the planet, the birdcage.
Oh, okay. I think I sent you two.
From the birdcage? No, that's the only one I got for the birdcage.
There should be one that says birdcage follow-up, which is just audio.
Let me look.
So just to comment, since we got a moment here, for Paranormal Scout said Hinsdale was on his list, the bucket list, and so was, he said he wished he could have gone to Ajo. So we were, when the Rathmans came out to do this aforementioned tour with us 2 years ago, we were 2 weeks from booking plane tickets to go out to them to do Aho, and that's when Tony goes, we don't have the place anymore. So they ended up coming out to the East Coast, but we were that close to going. Hinsdale House is a phenomenal location. It's potent.
No, unfortunately, I didn't get that one.
Unless it's labeled something different, Rick.
Well, that's okay because I can explain it because it's really quick and it's easy. But if you play the first one, you'll get an idea.
Okay, let's go ahead and play that one. Here we go.
It's almost run out of. That's weird.
Oh, let's play again.
Wow.
Quick. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what it says? It says, I had to. And as I was walking up the stairs, I set my camera down there. And I said, did you get killed down here? Right? Didn't hear anything. Went up the next stair and I said, did you kill someone? And I went upstairs. And this is me and Billy Hunley, the owner of, we're walking down the stairs. And then you hear this guy with a heavy Mexican accent. I say Mexican because half of El Paso, of Tombstone was all Mexican citizens, right?
Correct. Yep.
So, but you hear him go, I had to, right? Which is, I don't know if everybody caught it, but it's pretty easy to hear.
But it's quick, so it's hard to miss it.
Fast. Yeah.
Yeah. But what was funny is I sent that clip to Billy Hunley, and it was on my way down to see Tony at Aho. And I sent that clip, and he sent it back. He goes, wow. And I said, can I get back in there for like a half an hour? And he goes, well, he says, you'd have to be here right now. He says, because this is the only time I'll have for like so long. And I went, good, because I'm at your front door. Done. So he let me in, and I went down, and I just had a voice recorder. And I just asked, I said, the last time I was here, I asked if you killed anybody. You said I had to. Did you see anybody get killed down here? He goes, yes. So 38 seconds it took me to get another response from this guy.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then like 500 people on a tour came in, and that was the end of that.
Yeah. Yeah, play that one more time, Chris.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
It's right at the beginning. Here we go.
It's almost run out of. That's weird.
Yeah.
Sorry, halfway through, not at the beginning.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah, I had to.
Had to.
You can hear the accent too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can tell.
Yeah. That's
and what's funny in that picture, I don't know if you've ever been to Tombstone.
Oh yeah.
That is the poker room where they had a poker game that went on for over 8 years consecutively.
In the basement of the birdcage, right next to all the little
soiled doves.
Yeah, the soiled doves. There you go. Yeah,
that's what they called them, the soiled doves.
Yeah.
So you think these guys that get a good pot, I'll be back in about half an hour. I'm back with a much smaller pot.
Half an hour cost you 25 cents.
Yeah, that was big money back then.
All right, the next one we got for you, Rick, is Wolf Creek Rim Pod.
Yeah, this one was pretty interesting. When I got over there, I set my stuff up, and I was ghost hunting by myself. And wearing this shirt is not always the best idea when you go to a ghost hunting area, because all the people that were in the hotel came to go ghost hunting with me that night. I'm walking around, I've got like a trail behind me. But it was pretty cool.
That is cool.
But this is when I first walked into my bedroom.
Oh.
So let's check that out. Here we go.
I just took the REM pod out, and it is going absolutely batshit crazy. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me see something. Can you do that again? Come on, get them all going again. That was pretty fun. Well, that is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Thank you. Hey, Corey, are you in your room? So, somebody's here with me, huh? Have it go off again. If I know you're here, we can talk. Thank you. Can you make it go off, get real close to it and get all the lights going off again? That would be very cool. All right, well, can you do it one more time? My battery's dying, so could you do it one more time real soon? Thank you. That's very cool. Thank you for doing that.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome.
So
That's
I want to point out something very significant about that video, because a lot of people are going to go, "Whoa, it was sitting really close to the clock." If you guys are paying really close attention to that clock, that was a wind-up clock, and it wasn't wound because the timer wasn't moving. So even if it was wound, it's not an electric clock. It wouldn't put off any EMF.
Good point.
That it wasn't moving.
Well, the other point is if the clock had actually had an effect on it, it would have gone off all the
entire
time.
time. Yep.
Right. Similarly, we were looking at if the phone could have been causing it. When you got close, does it go off? When you pull back, does it stop? But it was not consistent with that movement either.
No.
The only thing it seemed to be in lockstep with was your request.
Yep.
Right.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was very cool.
That was way
Very
cool.
I've actually been like across the room and go, "Hey, can you light that up? Let's see if we get something going." Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. But if you do notice something, have you noticed how I talk to them? Thank you. Oh, that's cool. So we're like partners while we're doing it. So that
is cool.
It's kind of fun.
So the next tip we got for you, Rick, is TL2.
Oh, this is something really, really cool, because there's a couple things in there that I tried that I've never seen any other investigators do, which you guys will pick up on. But a friend of mine, TL2 stands for Travel Lodge. And this was in Edinburgh, Scotland. And he said, we get reports all the time from the people who work downstairs, which is there's nobody down there, right? And I went down there with my K2 meter and went through and wasn't getting any baseline at all, right? So I had him come down because he was all excited to ghost hunt, and I let him hold the K2, so I'm not even holding it. So if you watch closely, you'll see the two things that I did to try and do something different.
Okay. And real quick before I play this clip, UNX is going to be switching over to their next audio program in 5 minutes. But guys, we're going to continue live with Rick McCallum here on YouTube and Facebook. Stick around, and so we'll go through the rest of his clips and let him get some shameless plugs in. But here we go. Here's that clip.
We were talking with you earlier. You're back. Okay, make it go back down to 1. Thank you. Are you the spirit we were talking to just a few minutes ago? Is that a yes? Are you the spirit we were just talking to? Okay, thank you for that. Are there more with you? Are there more spirits here? There are, okay. If I go from the number, just start counting, can you make that go off when I get to the right number? Is there 2? 3? 4? 5? 2? Okay, so there are 2 spirits here, correct? Okay, thank you. All right, make it go back down to 1 so we can talk. Thank you. If I ask you what years you were around, can you make that light up? Were you here in the 1900s? The 1800s?
Wow.
That's amazing. You're like the K2 ghost whisperer.
He can take a K2. He can take a K2 and turn it into a complete communication device. I can't even get those things to do anything. I mean, they're either doing it all on their own, and I don't know what it's doing, but if I ask them, it doesn't do a thing. But Rick can literally use it as a communication tool.
I have to say, she does the same thing.
Yeah.
Me and Audrey need to go out.
Yeah.
By the way, did you guys see the two things that I did that were, first off, telling it to go back to one?
Right.
Okay. I don't care what you can say about what might be there. You can't make energy go away. Right. But when you say, can you go back to one? Boom. And it instantly, both times I asked, it went there. But I tried to, my friend who was holding the K2 meter, when I said, are there two? And it goes all off. And he looks at me and his eyes are real big. And then I said 3, 4. And he's looking at me like, dude, it already answered you. And I went 5, 2. And it goes off again. And he looks at me like, oh, I get it. Right.
Right. Those two things.
You guys saw at the end, it did go off on the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it. Those two things, especially with the 2, and then you came back to it, and especially like in the beginning when we looked at each other when you said go back to 1. I've been preaching for over 4 or 5 years, and somebody had it in the comments tonight about you vet the authenticity of evidence, audio or otherwise, with timing and relevance, and that was textbook timing and relevance. That was instantaneously one light.
It was crazy.
The second you said it.
As soon as he said it.
And then the 2, and then you went back to it and it did it again. I mean, that's the epitome of timing and relevance with an instrument in the field. That's phenomenal. I love that.
Well, we also talk about situational awareness too. If you guys were watching the video close, that was a brick wall.
Right. I was just going to say it was a brick wall.
So anything electrical in that area would have been surface mounted. The only time electrical is hidden behind a wall is usually in drywall. They can't do that with brick. It's always surface mounted with brick. And if you looked in the video, there's nothing surface mounted there that would put off an EMF frequency.
Yeah, like I said, I went through there and I didn't get anything until we started talking. So that was pretty cool. But
it did exactly what you said when you said it. That's if I never believed in anything, I would be like, hold on, what?
Yeah,
the timing.
That one is pretty convincing.
Yes, it is.
I played that at Paracons and stuff, and you see the hardcore ghost hunters. They're like, "Whoa, that was pretty good."
That is a significant K2 piece of evidence right there. That is.
Yeah.
And the poor guy that was holding it, like a couple days later, he went out and bought his own K2 meter.
Why won't it turn on? Come on now, you do it for Rick.
1, 2, 7, 5, 2.
We'll be packing up to go to an investigation, and the first thing Audra says out of her mouth is, "You packed my K2, right?"
You will never see me on an investigation without one of those in my hand.
Yep.
The only time it kicks her in the butt was when she's not paying attention to the Wi-Fi routers on the USS North Carolina.
I've been there. I actually did a movie on the North Carolina.
Really?
And Bill Goldberg and things like that. And I asked if I could go ghost hunting, and they said no. But you know what? But sometimes things don't really dissuade me.
That's right. It's not permission, right?
If you see me walking in the background, like, that's my sneaky walk.
Yeah, you missed the show where we talked about that, Rick. Last year we did the USS North Carolina with a group of us, and we had the ship for 14 hours.
A long time.
And we're going through and we're setting up equipment. I'm setting up the camera, getting my laser grid set up, and Audra's over there with her K2, and she's talking, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" We're setting up equipment. She goes, "I'm getting a great hit over here. This guy's talking to me like crazy." And I'm like, "Yeah, the Wi-Fi router is really kicking that K2 off." It was literally 3 feet above her head.
He's like,
I've run into that before myself. I'm sitting there, boy, this is really. But usually it just goes all 5 lights. It just stays there. It just keeps. You know, if you got a router
I thought
Yeah, I went back and looked at the video. It was pulsing, and she was asking questions in between pulses, but to her, it felt like it was responding.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was funny. It was hysterical.
That was pretty cool. That K2 one. The Scottish Paranormal guys. I don't know if I told you this. I'm a member of Scottish Paranormal, and they put not only that. I'm in their Hall of Fame, and I'm going to brag about that because I'm not in any other Hall of Fame, and I don't expect to be. So I'm going to brag about that one. But we went to a place called Wemyss Caves, right there on the North Sea. And we walked in, and I took out my K2 meter, and they go, one of the guys, by the way, is on Haunted Scotland. Ryan.
Yeah. Okay.
Is on Haunted Scotland. He's one of the founders. And he looks at me and he goes, mate, that never works in here. Right? And I said, who's the girl that's supposed to be in here? And they said, Mary Sibbald. Right? And I've got my K2, and I said, Mary Sibbald, are you in here? Bam! All 5 lights, and they went, you gotta be kidding me. Same thing happened at LAPD Museum with Brandon Albus. He borrowed my stuff, and they'd been there for 2 days, and I went walking down. I got my K2 meter, and he says, dude, we used that for 2 days. It never went off. And I went, hey, Arthur, are you here? Boom! Or Walter. It goes off all 5 lights, and he goes, oh, son of a bitch.
So cool.
Walter's my buddy. He was the first cop, motorcycle cop to get killed. And he actually walked by me when I first got there. I mean, it was pretty. I didn't see him, but I heard him. Heard his motorcycle boots going, and I'm looking right where he went, and nothing. So it was pretty interesting.
Wow,
that's very cool. All right, Rick. The next clip we got is Palomino Me.
Okay, sure. You want me to set that up for you a little bit,
or I can play it and then we can talk about it.
Okay, let it rip.
All right, here we go. I kind of, this one you sent me was just an audio clip, so I kind of converted it for you, and I used your face.
Oh God, no! Couldn't you?
One of your many faces, actually. All right, here we go.
So there is somebody here.
Oh yeah, I heard it at the end. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was very clear.
Yeah, it's a little girl's voice saying me.
Yeah, sounds like it.
That is actually the Palomino Strip Club in Las Vegas.
Oh
wow.
Wow.
And I had gone there to ghost hunt, and I had to do it while the place was open, right? But they had this one section that used to be where the girls would get dressed, right? So I played that for the owner, and we're still friends, by the way. I played that for him, and he goes, wow. And I said, why did they stop using this and go to the other one? They said, well, they kept seeing a little girl walking through. And I said, well, let me play this for you. And he hears it, and I said, wow, she's still here.
Wow.
Wow.
So that one was pretty good. The other one that you'll find in there is the one from the Houdini house. And it says, get back here.
Yeah, I got that one next. But Ron requests to play the Palomino again. I think the strip club portion got him excited.
Come on, man. She's like, Ron, she's like 6 years old. Come on, man.
It's not her.
I think Rick's most interesting comment is where the girls used to get dressed. I didn't realize they did that in a strip club.
They had to leave at night, you know.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. All right, let's play that one again. It's quick. Here we go.
So there is somebody here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is way cool.
Definitely a little girl's voice.
Yeah.
All right, now here's the get back here, punk. And yes, guys, that is Rick.
Which one? Where? What are you talking about?
The face in the video.
That's one of them.
All right, here's get back here, punk. Here we go.
Say face reading.
Wow. That was awesome. Great.
What was that at the end? Was that one of you?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't me. It goes, no.
Yeah, at the end.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. It almost sounds like it says like get back your punk like now. Like
no, it could be, but I think it's definitely no.
Okay.
Can you play it again?
Yeah.
Get it again.
Say face reading.
now.
No.
I hear now. I hear now.
I heard now.
It's close. It's close. It could be no. It could be now. It sounds like now.
The chicks are all ganging up on us and saying.
I hear no also.
And everybody knows the chicks can't hold their smoke.
Weird science.
Oh, see, even Irene from Japan said
No.
It's now.
she said she heard
Sounds
now
like
also.
now. Yeah.
I still thought it said no, but
Well, either way, it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's
That
close.
is actually there's more to it than that. That was at the Houdini house, they call it, up here on Laurel Canyon. And I have been getting K2 meter hits everywhere, and we were getting some smaller things. But this one, I was actually on the bridge at Roslyn Castle about 1 a.m. with some other ghost hunters, and they said, hey, do you ever get any good EVPs? So I played this one, which all I had ever heard was no or now, whichever it is. And I played it for him, and this guy goes, holy cow, that's amazing. I said, yeah, the no's pretty strong. And he goes, no, what it says before that. And I was like, huh? And he says, listen real close. So I was listening real close. I said, wait a minute, there's 4 words. And he goes, you want to know what they are? And he says, I said, yeah. So he goes, it says, get back here, punk. Well, I went into the next room and I said, look, or we were still in the bathroom, me and Ed, who was one of the guys who was ghost hunting with us. He was actually one of the Visigoths of the Capital of One commercials, right? Another big gorilla. But we're sitting there, and I said, do you want us to leave? And it went all 5 lights. I said, do it again, and we'll leave. And it does instantly. So we start to walk out, and I turned to say something to Ed, and it goes all 5 lights. I said, are you telling us to leave? Bam, all 5 lights again. And I went, all right, do it one more time. Bam, let's go. Right? So we got thrown out of the place. But when we went upstairs, there was a reporter there that wanted to do some things about ghost hunting. And I said, Ed, take him downstairs, right? And he goes, really? I said, hey, I promised I would leave, okay? Take him back down there. So they come back up about 10 minutes later. The guy, the reporter goes, he threw me out too. So he wasn't the friendliest of people, that guy.
Apparently
but yeah,
not.
I had never heard the get back here punk before, the guy brought it out to me. And then I had one of the guys, Ryan, actually, who's really good with audio, to pull that out for me where on the tape. So
that's awesome.
Where's the Houdini house, Rick? Where is that?
That is straight up Laurel Canyon on the way, if you're going from North Hollywood, up, and it's on the left-hand side of the street. And, he never lived there. He would visit there once in a while, but
I used to live near there. I never knew where that was. But I used to live.
There's 2 of them up there, actually. There's one on each side of the street. The other one's farther down, but they're both brick and very imposing looking. So, but yeah, those were pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's way cool.
That was very cool.
All right, we've got one more clip left. Hallway 2.
Ah.
This is actually David Oman's house.
I saved it for last because this is a great clip. I'll let you talk about it. We'll play it because we might have to play it a couple times. It's fast. Well, it's not fast. It's a 30-second clip, but you got to pay close attention to the left-hand side of the screen. All right, here we go.
Okay.
How you knew he was talking about that woman's house?
Because he talked in the beginning of the show about the hallway.
Ooh. That's awesome.
Right.
It's a walking right here.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Wow.
How phenomenal is that?
Yeah.
That's right down near the Jack Johnson room.
That is you were not wrong when you said that is an active house, and that floor.
That hallway is very, very active.
That is a phenomenal clip.
Yeah.
You know what it looks like to me? And if you know that it's, there was a lot of indigenous tribes in that area in the older days. It actually looks to me like somebody threw a tomahawk because it spins end over end as it comes out.
Really? Let's watch that again. And what I didn't notice, we can actually talk during this. For some reason, the audio's there. So let's watch that again. Here we go.
Especially in slow motion, you can see it spin better.
Yeah, on the second portion of the clip. Yeah.
You can kind of see it, like right around when it comes out here.
Oh, wow.
It is spinning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely is.
Now you'll see it better with this one.
And if you look really close, the apparition that appears stops and stays right where it's standing. And then kind of backs up.
Huh.
That's very
it almost
cool.
looks like it goes like this and then it steps back.
What I mean, it seems to me like it might have been a tomahawk.
Very possible.
Yeah. That house is insane.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, they've gotten Native American stuff in the basement of that house too, haven't they?
Yeah, especially the dirt room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I have to tell you, that's one of the places I got the most afraid of in my whole life because I walked down there and it has a big, it's dirt, a dirt hill, and it has this big like heater.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there and this freaking cat jumped out from behind at me. I was like, holy cripes.
Yeah.
I'm an older fellow with a bad heart. Don't do that.
I wonder which one. Domino.
Domino.
That was his name. I love Domino.
He has a cat, a little black and white cat called Domino.
Domino.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that house is nuts. We were there. He's got a video on his YouTube channel, David. When before the cat balls became like a craze, like everybody's using now. This is like 2016.
Yeah.
And she was asking. He had one, and they lit it up every time she asked, on command. And then we thanked them for doing it. And then they played a little jingle on the toy keyboard across the room on the bar.
Whoa.
Yeah. He has it on his YouTube channel. It was astounding. I was like,
David is convinced because of that video is why everybody uses the cat balls now. Like he's convinced of it.
Yeah.
So you guys are to blame. I hate those cat balls. I've stepped on them and almost fallen down the stairs. I've stepped on them. They put a dark ball on the ground in the dark.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we never even bought any. We
don't have one
we
ever.
Didn't even own any. They were his.
They were his.
I made people pick them up off the ground and put them up on tables and stuff like that. I said, you got to break somebody's damn leg with this thing.
Right.
No, but that is true. It's a good idea. You got to put them in a spot where people can see them or on top. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I stepped on one and like my ankle twisted. I was, Fortunately, I know how to fall down.
Yeah.
True.
I did a great face plant in Vegas. You remember that, Tony? I fell into my booth. I turned around and had a
I do remember.
And I went boom and went face first. Everybody came running over to see how I was, and I was sitting on the ground laughing. And I asked him, I said, of all the people inside here, who would you rather have fall down, me or somebody out there? I've done this for a long time.
See, when you do something like that, Rick, that's when you just put your hands up and go, that was free of charge, people. That was free of charge.
Well, I will tell you a funny story. I had to fall out of a helicopter. I got kicked out of a helicopter. And I was about 20 feet up, and I had to land on a crash pad, which was 5 foot by 7 foot. That's not very big.
That's not very big.
And despite what people think about helicopters hovering, they don't. They do this.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm trying to wait. And they put the camera over part of the bag, so I have to miss that and hit the piece of the bag that's still left. Well, the first time I went out, I was waiting and waiting, and finally, I started to. The thing tilted forward, which shot me farther forward, and I could tell that I was going to miss the bag, right? And I was about 20 feet in the air, right? So I tucked myself up into a ball, and my butt hit the very edge of the bag, and it threw me up in the air, and I came down and landed on my feet, and I threw my arms up over my head, and I stuck my butt out. And I looked over to him, and I went, nailed it.
The best one, though, is in the Globe jail. and Rick was looking at a monitor. So it was completely dark in there, and the monitor or the tablet he was holding was right in his face. I think he did this 2 or 3 times, but there was a pole right in the center of the jail cell. And Rick's walking and looking at the tablet, and all of a sudden you hear him go, you just hear this boom, and he smashed right into it.
Yeah,
2 or
face
3
first.
times.
Boom. But you know what got me the other 2 times was that freaking chair.
Oh, yeah, the chair. That's right.
Yeah, twice you hear me. I'm walking along talking, and all of a sudden you hear clank. Son of a bitch. And then the second time I really got that's twice.
It's not always graceful when small people fall too. Remember, we were at the Rochester Paracon, and our table was behind Chris DeCesare, the Ghost Boy of Geneseo. It's got a Netflix series coming out called The Ghost Boy of Erie Hall.
Yeah.
And he had one of those flag stands that you just pull up, like the banner ones. And she was hungry. She was a little tired. And for some reason, she thought, let me lean on this wall.
I thought it was a wall because I wasn't feeling well, and I'm hungry, and you know how long Ron can talk, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. He needs to hurry up. I was like, all right, I'm feeling a little weak. Let me just lean up against this. Woo, boom. With the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, you know, there is a place down in San Diego. It's called the William Heath Davis House. I think they've changed it to the Horton Davis House now. But I was ghost hunting there, and I was with this real pretty girl who was kind of like my guest for the night. We were with the San Diego Ghost Hunters, and we were upstairs, and they were downstairs doing a spirit box session. Well, as we're walking down the stairs, now this girl I was with was really pretty. She was a model, very sweet. And we're walking down. She goes, let's sit on the stairs and let them finish their session. I'm okay with this. But I'm a step ahead of her. So I go to sit down, and my big ass was almost to the step, and something shoved me from behind and just launched me, right? And she screamed. Wow. And fortunately, I was able to tuck my head, and I almost hit my face on my knees because I tucked so fast to keep from flying down the stairs. And she screamed. Everybody came up there. And this is the weirdest thing. I have it on tape somewhere. I wish I would have put it on here. As we were leaving, I always say this. I said, downtown San Diego at night can be a little sketchy, right? Because I almost had to beat 3 guys up while we were there. 3 drunk guys came up, were trying to break in. And I went out and said, that'll be enough of that. Move along. Right. And fortunately, they did. But I said this one night on some show. I can't remember what it was. And I was saying, yeah, I said, it's kind of sketchy out. And my friend, I wanted to make sure she got back. She was a model. Right? I said, and she made me cookies. And she was a model. Right? So anyway, I took her home. But as we were back to her car, as we're walking, Maritza, who was the head of San Diego Ghost Hunters at the time, calls me up. She goes, you have to listen to this. So we're listening, and the girl says, who pushed Rick? And it goes, spirits. And she goes, spirits? How many spirits pushed Rick? He goes, 5. She goes, 5 spirits pushed Rick. Why did 5 spirits push Rick? And he goes, he's big. But it's on tape. I mean, I was cracking up. It's like
I couldn't do it with 4.
I got jumped by a bunch of spirits.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, shoved me downstairs. I mean,
you're on an investigation with a professional stuntman when he falls or gets shoved, and he immediately goes into a tuck.
Well, I actually fell at Paulding Jail. I was coming down the way, and my bag had a long looping shoulder strap. And as I got about 3 steps from the bottom, my foot got caught in the thing, and I went flying down the stairs. Splat. I have a theme song. It's I get knocked down, but I get up again.
There's something inherently funny and that's how you know who your friends are. When you fall down, the people who don't know you go, "Are you okay?" Your friends are like, "Hey, can you do that again?"
It's like the 10th time we've seen you fall today. Yeah,
That's right.
Actually, I had one getting out of the bus, and the bus was on a hill and it was too far. And I was holding my bag and I went like this, and it was farther than I thought, and I'd already let go. And it started to throw me backwards down this hill. And I turned around and looked, and there was a wooden fence with barbed wire running across, right? And Jay Bloomkey was standing there watching, and I fell backwards, and I spun, right, back towards this wooden beam. And with the stuff in my other hand, I punched the wooden beam, just went boom, and stopped myself dead, and like that. And he turned around and he goes, "I didn't think you were going to save yourself on that one." I said, "Well, Jay, I was motivated."
Motivated and highly trained.
Yeah, barbed wire hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I have to tell you guys a story because I need feedback off of this. And this is no lie, no kidding. I stayed in St. Andrews University in one of the dorms when I was there this summer because they rent them out in the summer for hotel rooms. And I laid down, and I'd been laying down maybe 2 minutes. I was wide awake. I'm just laying there. When I heard a scream, a woman's scream, but it started out slow. And I thought, oh, well, the people next door to me are frisky people, right? And then it just got supersonic. It was just like this girl screamed like she was being eviscerated. I mean, it's the most scary sound I've ever heard in my life. It was terrifying, right? And I mean, I sat up, I grabbed the REM pod, I grabbed the K2 meter, I grabbed my recorder, and I couldn't get anything. But I mean, this scream came out. It was like, it really, in my mind's eye, I could see somebody cutting this girl open and torturing her as they're killing her. And it was, wow, it was horrendous. I mean, and I went downstairs the next day, says, "Anybody ever talk about a scream in this hotel?" "Oh, no." They go, "Well, lucky me."
Wow.
But yeah, that was hard to deal with, actually, to tell you the truth.
And what is it? What's the place normally?
It's actually St. Andrews University in Scotland.
Interesting. Did you stay there just the one night, Rick?
No, I was there for 3 nights. I was there in that same room the second night, got nothing, and then I was in another room the next night, still nothing. So I think it just took its one shot to get my attention, and boy, did it. I mean, that's going to stick with me forever, that thing, because I can't really do the scream, but if you can imagine someone getting torn to shreds, the pain and the screaming, and that's exactly what it was. I was like, holy crap.
Wow.
Yeah. That would get your attention.
Yeah, it would.
Well, you know, I actually have a very protective mode to me. And when I heard that, man, I'm like, I got to do something, you know, and there was nothing I could do, you know. It was just not funny.
No, not funny, but it shows you what kind of investigator Rick is and how long he's been doing it. He heard that scream. What was the first thing he grabbed?
Well, the closest thing near me was the REM pod.
Yeah, he started grabbing his equipment to try and record that shit.
I had my bag open. You know, I always leave my bag open at night in case I have to get something. So I got the recorder going. I got the K2 out, and I was like, "Who was that? Come on, talk to me." And nothing.
No.
Anthony brought up a really good point. Did it sound
sure
like
did.
a banshee screech?
What
Like
was it?
A banshee, maybe. Did it sound like a banshee, maybe?
Yeah.
No, it definitely sounded like a woman dying. You know, and actually I did while I was there, I did the Banshee Labyrinth twice while I was there this time. And I was there one time with the Scottish Paranormal. We got a lot of stuff. So you know, that's a pretty good place to go to too.
Very cool.
All right, Rick, we have reached the part of the show called Shameless Plugs. Where are you going to be? Where can people find you? What you got coming up? Spill it.
And the book. Plug the book.
Plug the book.
Well, first off, about the books, I send the money to St. Jude for the money for anybody who buys the books. So I'm not out trying to make a buck, which at my old age and lack of money, I should probably be doing. But anyway, the two books are Ghosts Believe in Me, which I was fortunate enough to win the Book of the Year from the Paranormal Awards thing with that book. And the second one is the spirits are out there and they're waiting for you. That actually right there, that picture was actually at the Hellfire Club in Dublin.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
I thought I had a picture of the other book. Oh, there it is.
You do.
There it is.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
That picture was taken totally off the cuff. And you know what?
That's an awesome shot.
It's like
Right?
11. That's like 11:30 at night. And the girl who did that used to work for Ghost Hunters, and that is actually Airth Castle's graveyard. And she just looked up and saw that and took it. She came over. She goes, "What do you think of this picture?" I said, "That's the cover of my next book." She goes, "Oh, you're funny." I said, "I'm not kidding."
That's a great pick.
Yeah.
It's a great shot.
Well, it kind of describes me too, because most of the ghost hunting I do is exactly that: me out somewhere by myself.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
They're really nice shot.
And again, the other book, Ghosts Believe in Me. Where can they find your books, Rick?
They are both on Amazon.
Very
And
cool.
I have to say this: I am going to be doing a ghost hunt September 23rd at the old Baraboo Inn in Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Oh, awesome.
So you all come out and hang out there, and then next May I'll be doing a thing in Tombstone.
Oh, we're still there.
Yeah.
Tombstone is.
We
one
got to
of our
get you out
favorite-
here. We got to get you out to the east, man.
I'm coming.
Next May, did you say, for Tombstone?
May, yeah. I kept asking them. I said, "I'll come if my buddy Tony is there," and they said, "Yeah, Tony's going to be there." Now, that dirty rat Fink is abandoned ship.
Well, you know, that whole move on Friday got killed.
Did it really?
It did. So I'm going to reach back out to the lady who asked about Tombstone for, was it October? I can't remember. I got to go back and look, but
Yeah,
we're going to be around.
One's in October, one's in May.
One's in October and one's in May?
Yeah, there's two of them evidently.
All right, I got to see which one she asked me about, but
Well, you just tell her you want to come to the one where I'm at.
there you go. That's what I'll tell her.
I want to play
I'm
with
like,
Santa
if Rick's
Claus.
not there, I'm not coming.
I want to play with Santa Claus. Actually,
That can be
I
done.
want to invest in Statacom so I can be partially as rich as Tony's going to be.
Me too.
Those are the two places that I'm going to be going. I will tell you, this isn't shameless plugs. Oh, by the way, too, if you're ever looking, well, that is a shameless plug, which I won't use.
No, go for it.
No, it's just going to say there's a bunch of stuff that I put up on Dark Zone app, and I didn't want to cross any lines there.
Oh no, you're good.
No,
Okay.
you're fine.
But yeah, it's when I was there. Some of you may know Lori Dorsey. She gets around ghost hunting quite a bunch of places. We would gone. There's a place called Calton Hill in Edinburgh, and it's at the top of a hill, and it's where it got all these monuments, and it overlooks the city. It's a fantastic place. If you ever go to Edinburgh, you have to go Calton Hill at night. And we're walking up the next day. We're walking up, and it's along like 100 yards, and it's a ramp, just an asphalt ramp, and it's got a handrail in the middle. So we're going up the thing, and I hear a guy right in my ear go, "Pardon me," like he's mad, right? And I didn't particularly like the tone of his voice, right? And I turned around to say something, and I can see 75 yards down, and it's all in with bushes, right? There's nobody there, right?
Wow.
So I turned to Laura. I said, "You hear something?" She goes, "I heard the man say, 'Pardon me.'" And I said, "Yeah, turn around." She goes, "There's nobody here." I said, "Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying." So,
Wow.
I will tell you something else that happened there, that I had actually gone into this one graveyard, and it was really foggy, really scary. And I walked to the back, and there were two girls back there, about 14, 15, and they were kind of shivering, and they looked at me and they said, "Excuse me, can we walk with you? We're really scared." And I said, "Sure, you can walk with me." I said, "I understand I was afraid of graveyards too when I was alive. I got to tell you, young girls are really, really fast.
That's a great line.
Actually, that never happened, but I came up with that off of something that did happen in that same graveyard. When you walk into it, you have to walk up these steps to be ground level. So you're actually below ground level as you're going up. And as I was walking up the stairs, I could see these two girls about 30 yards away from me. And as I started to come up over, my head popped up. I looked over to my right, and there was a guy that was getting up off the ground. He had a sleeping bag over there, and he started walking like he was stalking the girls. So I hurried up, and I got parallel to him. And as he's walking along, he got close to the girls. I just looked at him and went, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he stopped, and he turned around, and he went back to the other ones. And I walked up to the thing. I said, "Ladies, I think if I were you, you might call it a night." And they saw the guy coming too. They said, "Yeah, so let's go." So out we went. But that was kind of cool too. But I didn't want to have to beat up on him, but I would have. The situation called for it. I'd have to choke him out.
I want to drag one more story out of you, because for people who may not have seen you when you were with us before, I have a few books on Amazon, and I love coming up with a title. I think the title of the book speaks to the creativity sometimes as much as the content of the book. Actually, Tony was kind enough to pull the Knowingly Talking to the Unknown from the title of my first book.
I love that.
Tony was brilliant. Yeah, that was just my first book, Paranormally Speaking, Knowingly Talking to the Unknown. He goes, "How about that for the docuseries?" Which was really cool. Your first book has one of the best titles for a paranormal book one could have, and there's a story behind it, if you don't mind sharing that before we let you go.
Oh, I don't mind sharing it. It actually came about because the guy that was the host pissed me off.
There it is.
I was supposed to be on for 2 hours. The first question this guy asked me with a real snarky attitude, he goes,
"Snarky.
You don't really believe in ghosts, do you?" And I went, "No." Right? I felt like saying, "What are you going to do now, tough guy?" But I just went, "No." And he goes, "You really don't believe in ghosts?" I said, "No, ghosts believe in me." Right? And I got so many people that said, "That was so cool what you said to that guy." So that's how that came to be.
That's fantastic.
That's a great story.
Yeah, don't get snotty. I'm just doing you a favor. We're going to be on there for two hours. Of course, my life's not all full of mirth and merriment anyway. So, I'm like RA. RA will appear at the opening of an envelope. He's just, he'll show up for anything you got.
That's awesome.
I got to tell you something funny he did one time. We were actually sitting in a bar, and he turns around to these two girls that were sitting near us, and he goes, "Ladies, do you have a car? I have a real emergency," right? They go, "What's the matter?" And he goes, "I have to go to the vet." And they said, "The vet? What's the matter?" And he crosses his arms and he goes, "These pythons are sick."
That's awesome.
I'm just sitting there like, no, I'm not with him. No. Never met that guy. No. He just sat down, looked like a homeless guy.
That's funny.
I tease him all the time because he always wears like black leather vest, and all these jewelry and stuff. And I'll go up and I'll have a bunch of people sitting there and say, "So when are the Indian and the cowboy and the cop showing up?"
YMCA.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Rick. It's always a pleasure talking with you and having you on. You are fantastic guest.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I love throwing some stuff out that the people might not have seen before.
It's fantastic, and you always have great stuff and great stories.
Great stories. I was just gonna say.
Well, shoot! I had to write a book. I wrote two. Number 3, by the way, is coming up, but it's not about ghost hunting.
Oh,
and it's actually about the most badass women that ever lived.
I didn't tell you to write about me.
No, it really is, because there's so many really famous women that nobody talks about. Hedy Lamarr, you know who she is? famous actress, beautiful girl. You are right now using the technology for Bluetooth and the cell phone that she invented in World War II to help the Allies.
Oh, okay, you scared me.
You know,
Sorry.
So, I mean, there's stuff like that. Holy cow! What is that creature?
That's Podcat.
It's a podcat.
No, I was talking about Ron.
That's fantastic.
No, but that's what the next book is going to be about because there's so many Boudica. Have you ever heard of Boudica?
I don't know what Boudica is.
I have.
The Romans
that
came
name I've
over.
heard.
Yeah, the Romans came over and killed her husband, who was the king. Actually had their ways with her 9 and 10-year-old daughter in front of everybody. So Boudica raised an army, and she actually went out and killed 70,000 Romans. She sacked both London and the second biggest town in England, and then they finally caught her and did her in. But there's a lot of women like Boudica, and I think a lot of the ladies, especially young girls now, are like, they don't have any heroes. You know, and there's so many of them. Joan of Arc, you know, Madame Curie. I mean, the lady that just the other day ran over and shoved a bear off the back fence that was walking along near her kids. She sees it, she runs home, throws a bear off the fence. So that's what I'm saying. That's my next book, I think, because I really want to something that ups the ladies because so many people don't know some of this cool stuff.
Yeah,
like women for digging a hole.
There's one actually that if you guys should look this up on Google before, you know, this is the last thing I'll talk about. There's one in there where a girl who's actually a stunt girl back in 1926, I think it is. One of the biplanes they used for wing walking, one of the landing wheels fell off. So they gave her a wheel, flew her up in another one. She went from one biplane to the other biplane, crawled underneath the thing, hanging on, changed the tire. I mean, it's on video. You can see it on Google.
Wow.
Yeah. Not me. Not me. No. My 20-foot helicopter was it.
That's where they got the idea for roadside assistance.
Yeah. AAA, yeah, I'm in a biplane. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Anyway, guys, I had a good time talking to y'all. Well, except for Tony. That's awesome. Get yourself out there in May, so I got somebody to play with.
All right, I'll be there.
And some Staticom.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
And my copy of the Staticom. So
bring Rick's copy.
Yes,
we're still in research.
I'm still trying to figure out the K2, so you've got time.
You got that down.
Yeah, seriously.
You got that down, Pat.
You got that one down, Pat.
Well, it's only 5 lights. Even I can figure that out.
And then move on to the K9. You got the K2 down.
All right, Rick. It was great having you on. Everybody watching, thank you for joining in again this week. We will be back. Same hosts, same time, same channel as this one next week. We are happy to see you. And remember, guys, if you want to get out and you want to catch some really good K2 hits, you got to be Rick McCallum. You don't have to stay Hollywood, but you got to stay haunted. All right, guys, have a good night. We'll see you next week.
I like that one. Thanks, guys.
Can you give me a name? What's your name?